So, welcome to my first studio vlog, episode one. I don't consider my first YouTube video my first vlog. It was just kind of an introduction to get over the fear of posting on YouTube. This is actually filmed probably a week or so after my first snippets of videos that I filmed for this vlog. The weekend got away from me. I was traveling and it was a busy week, and I just got caught up in the week and forgot to film the intro, which I feel like is the most important part. But it was, like I said, a very busy week. I had a major commission. It was probably not probably, it was my first major commission. It was an engagement ring for a very old friend, and it turned out beautifully. Hopefully I can put a video of that in right after this. But the process of carving that ring, casting it, and getting the stone set, there were a lot of complications. Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. I'm still a relatively novice jeweler and artist. So I'm learning as I go. So failure is to be expected. Failure is encouraged because you learn from it. And I'm only 29. I've only been doing jewelry and art for 4 years now, mostly self-taught, recently got a mentor. So yeah, there's a lot to learn in the failures. I've learned a lot, especially in the past year. But yeah, the commission was my first gold ring that I've done in a while. I've casted some gold rings for myself. I work mostly in silver because if I mess up, it's cheaper, unless someone specifically asks for it. So there were a lot of different nuances with gold that I had to work with, including the price and how much volume I had ordered. So it was an interesting learning experience. The way I casted it was with a vacuum caster, and I'm not overly familiar with vacuum casting. I have access to a caster now for vacuum casting, but mostly what I've been doing with my mentor's equipment, because I live in a 4th floor apartment, I can't cast in my apartment. I've been using a centrifugal casting system, so it's very different. And so it's been touch and go learning how to use that, but overall it's been really easy. But the first thing I had to do in order to use that and to cast with it is I had to season the crucible, which I'll show you a video of. All right, guys, we're really excited today. In the studio that I do a lot of my casting out of, I can't cast in a 4th floor apartment where I do most of my finishing work, but here I can cast. This is the studio that I work out of as part of a club. But the exciting thing that we're here for today is we are going to cast my first engagement ring. It's hard to believe that this right here is almost $400 worth of gold. It's going to go into one ring, but I'm excited. I'm going to try and show you all the best of that much we can. Maybe not, depending on the angles. I didn't bring my tripod today, so best of what we got. So all right, so now crucible season. Next step is the cast. I'm waiting for a friend to get here to help me out. I can do it by myself. It's just easier to have one person help you out. That way, one person takes it out of the kiln, the flask, and then the other person keeps the metal melted because you don't really have a furnace here. It's all by torch. So one person has to keep the metal melted, and the other person takes the flask out, puts it on the vacuum caster. So once they get here, we'll get started. All right, so this just happened. Um, One of the regulars here gave me a piece of Miramar to make cabochon that one. That's awesome. Okay, I just made it back home from the workshop earlier. The casting went super well. Didn't get a chance to film it. My friend who's helped me out, kind of too crowded. It just wasn't a good environment for filming. But the casting went really, really well. So that's my first engagement ring commission cast. I have to clean it and get the stone set. But the reason I'm home so late is because they had an auction that I did not know about, and so I ended up buying way too many stones that I do not need, and I'll have to go through and do a show and tell later. But honestly, I'm really tired, and as much as I would love to show you guys all the rocks that I got, I'm going to have a lot of cleanup to do on that ring. Not a lot, but it's gonna be a long day tomorrow because I'm trying to get that out and finished by Thursday morning. I'm in over my head, but I love it. So I'm pretty sure I mentioned this earlier in the video, but the even though the casting of the engagement ring commission that I had went well, or I thought it did, it turns out it didn't. So what happened the next day is whenever I went to go set the stone, it was going well. The seats were cut pretty well. And when I went to push the prongs over to set the stone and hold it in place, one of them just snapped completely. When I tell you I was devastated, I wanted to give up that night. Not give up, but it it had to have been the third or fourth iteration of that ring that I had made. And so I was just done for the night. I thought I was going to have to start all over again. I was distraught, to put it lightly. So I sent a picture of it to my mentor, basically asking if there's any way that we can save this ring. Spoilers, I know from the beginning of the movie, or not the movie, but beginning of this vlog, that we did save it and it turned out great. But what ended up happening was whenever my mentor saw the picture, is that he was like, "Oh, brittle prong disease," kind of laughing about it. And I wasn't laughing at the time. But what it turned out to be is that whenever I casted it in the vacuum caster, I didn't have side channels. So, to give you a good example here, you have a ring that's in the casting flask. And so the metal is going to go come down for it this way when you're vacuum casting. Usually you have side channels that, that way the metal isn't just flowing from the side of the rings. It'll actually be directed towards the heavier part of the ring, especially the prongs, to make it denser. But because I was working on a budget and I ordered basically the precise amount of gold with a little bit extra, the precise amount of gold I would need to cast just the ring without the channels, because I was on a time crunch and on a limited budget, I didn't order more gold, and so I didn't put those channels in. So whenever it came time to actually pour the gold into the mold, it completely filled, but there wasn't enough back pressure from there being enough gold pushing it down in the vacuum, because you actually need a decent amount, or not a decent amount, but some excess amount of metal to help put pressure on the back end whenever you pour it. And the channels would help direct that flow more rapidly towards the top of the setting. Since I didn't do all the right steps that I didn't know that I needed for vacuum casting, what ended up happening was it basically starved the prongs of gold. And so what that did is it created a more crystalline, brittle structure that wasn't as dense as it could have been. So whenever I went to go bend the prong in, it just snapped. Luckily, when I went to my mentors the next morning and we were able to laser weld and fix it up and make it to where it worked and looked beautiful. And I've already mailed it off to my client. So that was a hard lesson learned, saved me by the skin of my teeth, quite literally. So that was a tough lesson to learn, yes. But it happened. It worked out for now. I know it doesn't always happen that way, but it worked out for me this time. So on the bright side, I'm working on another commission, and I'll probably talk more about that in the next video. But I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to my YouTube channel. I know why I'm making a YouTube channel. Maybe I haven't expressly said why that's clear, or I haven't made that clear yet. That needs probably a video by itself, but I have a very lofty goal, is a good way to say it. And I'm looking to reach that in a relatively short amount of time. Even if it wasn't for that, I wanted to start a YouTube channel. I believe creating a personal brand on social media outside of just Instagram, TikTok, it's important for people to see who you are, what you do. And I know it'd be a good topic to just talk about why I wanted to include my jewelry and my art together. I know I haven't shown much art on my first vlog. I've been mostly busy with that commission, but I do have one painting commission I need to work on, and I want to combine that with this. I need to figure out the best way to work that. This is all trial and error, just like everything else in life. So, but if you've made it this far, I really do appreciate it. This is going to be a fun journey together, and I'm excited to show you all the ideas for jewelry and paintings that are cooking up in this head. And hopefully, maybe I can inspire a few of you to go after a passion of your own. Maybe you just want to stick around and see what I make. But either way, I appreciate it. If you like my content, please let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe, all the other generic stuff that every YouTuber says at the end of their videos. But again, I do appreciate y'all, and I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you.